Hello, everybody. Welcome to Jet Central here on Jets TV. This is going to be the recap to my week 6 picks. Please, guys, comment, rate, subscribe. Please comment, rate, subscribe. Don't have my Mark Sanchez tee on here, but got my Jets hoodie on. It's got Jets on the hood, too, on both sides. Little throwback hoodie from Mitchell and Ness. So, definitely, please comment, rate, subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into the picks, guys. I took Detroit over San Francisco. That got me a loss. San Francisco beat Detroit 25-19. Frank Gore had 141 yards in this game. That's pretty much what kept San Francisco in the game, was how much and how good they ran the ball against the Detroit Lions. Detroit really had a good first quarter, and after that, San Francisco just stayed in the game and fought. And ended up taking the game in the last couple minutes. Detroit had a chance to drive down last 2 minutes, but their 2-minute drive offense just looked horrible. Big story after the game was the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers and the head coach of the Lions got into a little scuffle. The coach of the 49ers went to shake the hand of the coach of the Lions and kind of slapped his hand and then like pushed him on the back and pushed him out of the way. It was really weird. And so, clearly the Lions coach says, hey, don't push me, and gets all in his face. They're walking down the field and then guys get in the middle and then they start wrestling, tussling, a lot of chest bumping, and it was really kind of just crazy. But, San Francisco got out of there with a win. Green Bay at St. Louis. I took Green Bay. That got me a win. Pretty much, they're just better than St. Louis. St. Louis is just playing horrible. But St. Louis did make a big trade. What I thought was a big trade. They got Brandon Lloyd from the Denver Broncos for a conditional 2012 pick, which actually is going to end up to be a 5th, 6th, or 7th rounder. Brandon Lloyd is a quality receiver in this league, and I don't know what the Denver Broncos are doing. Everybody else in this league is trying to get better. The Denver Broncos are trying to get worse. Just got rid of Brandon Lloyd, and they're trying to get rid of Eddie Royal too. Two of their best receivers, and you're starting Tim Tebow. Basically what they're yelling is, we want Andrew Luck in next year's draft. That's what they're saying. And let me tell you, the Denver Broncos are on the highway to having the first round pick in this next year's draft. They're just awful. But so are the St. Louis Rams, and they just got killed in this game. This game wasn't even that close. Realistically, if Green Bay would have came out in the second half and continued to run the offense that they were running in the first half, they could have put up 60 on the St. Louis Rams, but they just kind of took it easy in the second half. Atlanta at Carolina, I took Atlanta. That was a win for me. Cam Newton had a decent game, 237 yards, but he also had 3 picks. But what turned the tide for Atlanta was Turner. Turner had 139 yards rushing the ball, and Carolina's run defense is garbage. And they did exactly what I said they should do. And you know what, Atlanta, this is the best that I've seen you run the ball the entire year. So, hats off to Atlanta. They got the job done. Cincinnati, Indy. I took Cincy. That got me a win. Cincinnati just came out and played really good football, and Indy came out and just played like Indy. Giants at Buffalo. I took Buffalo, and the Giants won, so that was a loss for me. The Giants won 27-14. Basically, the Giants won the turnover battle in this game. Neither one of the teams really were outstanding. But, the Giants just came out, won the turnover battle, got the job done. That's pretty much it. It wasn't really anything spectacular. Manning had 292 yards throwing, and Fred Jackson had 121 yards rushing. But the Giants ran the ball pretty well, too, with Ahmad Bradshaw, and just got the job done, got the win, got out of there. Pittsburgh at Jacksonville. Pittsburgh beat Jacksonville 17-13. I took Pittsburgh. That was a win for me. Neither one of these teams played good either. This was a rickety game. Ben Roethlisberger had 200 yards throwing the ball, but his offensive line looked shaky at best during this game. So Pittsburgh still got stuff to work on. Philly at Washington. I took Philly. This is my upset pick. And Philly actually beat Washington 20-13. So that got me a win. Michael Vick had 237 yards throwing, but McCoy had 126 yards on the ground. That was the best thing that could have happened to Philly that day. McCoy played like a beast. Rex Grossman played like a bum. He had 4 picks in this game, and he was just looking awful. Just like I said he would. I don't trust you, Rex Grossman. Then they brought in John Beck. He came in and threw some picks too. Just a bad day overall offensively for Washington. And they're going to have John Beck starting next week instead of Rex Grossman for the Washington Redskins. So, boy, good and bad times keep on rolling. Baltimore and Houston. I took Baltimore. They rolled Houston 29-14. Houston looks like a bird with a broken wing without Andre Johnson. I mean, he's a big part of their offense. And when you don't have Andre Johnson, as a Houston Texans, you can get man coverage all night long, and it really doesn't matter. Pretty much what they're doing is stacking the box and saying, I dare you to run at me with Foster. So, Joe Flacco had 305 yards throwing. Ray Rice had 101 yards rushing, and Quan Boda had 132 yards receiving. Baltimore just dominated. Oakland at Cleveland. Oakland won 24-17. I took Oakland. Oakland really only had 2 plays that separated them from Cleveland in this game. 2 like fluky special team little plays that they ran that got them 2 touchdowns. That's pretty much it. Everything else was fairly, mundane in this game. One thing for Oakland, Jason Campbell broke his collarbone. He could be done for the rest of the season. He's having a surgery, but more than likely he's going to be done. So what the Raiders did was they went out, traded for Carson Palmer, gave up a first-round pick and a conditional pick for the next 2013's draft, which is either going to be a first or second rounder. Last time I saw Carson Palmer, he was throwing interceptions. I really think that Oakland Raiders overpaid for him. 2 first rounders or a first and second round, that's just too much for Carson Palmer. He's past his prime. He hurt his knee. He's never been back. He's never been the same since that injury. But you know what? If you can get a guy in there that at least played decently, I know Oakland's looking like, hey, this playoffs are bust. And, I guess you could bring in Carson Palmer. Hugh Jackson and Carson Palmer are very good acquaintances. They ran some of the similar offenses in Cincinnati, so I'm guessing he's going to bring them in and say, hey, this is what we ran in Cincinnati. Are you comfortable with it? But still, 2 first-round picks for Carson Palmer. I mean, you could have went and signed David Garrard. I mean, come on, Oakland. But, hey, do what you need to do to stay on top in this league. So that was a big trade for Oakland. Moving along, New England at Dallas. I took New England. They beat Dallas 20-16. This loss really I'm putting squarely on the front door of the coaching staff in Dallas. They seem to not understand that when you have the lead in the last couple minutes of the game and you're maybe a score away from getting beat, what you do is you run the ball and you run the clock out. Dallas just doesn't seem to know how to do that. They have mental breakdowns at some of the most important parts of their teams. If it's not the coach, then it's the quarterback. I mean, come on, Dallas. Basically what they did was they threw the ball. They had the lead the last couple minutes. They threw the ball instead of running the ball to run the clock out. They give Tom Brady 2 minutes, punt the ball, give him 2 minutes to score, and guess what? That's what Tom Brady does. Came back, scored the game-winning touchdown, boom, took off. That's pretty much all that happened. Neither one of the teams played really well, but you know what? New England just came out and found a way to win. So, come on, Dallas. I mean, Tony Romo had 317 yards throwing, but that didn't get the job done. Moving along, Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Tampa Bay 26, New Orleans 20. I took New Orleans, and they lost, so that was an L for me. Sean Payton got injured on the sideline early in this game. Somebody ran into him. A player ran into him coming down the field on a return. Busted his knee up. They said he broke his leg and tore his MCL. So he, was trying to coach from the bench, trying to coach from the press box, then coaching over the phone. And then he said the pain was just too much, so they went and took him into an emergency room, had a surgery, and he's probably going to have a decent, speedy recovery. But the story of this game is New Orleans cannot run the ball in short yardage situations. They had the ball with the game on the line, last couple seconds of the game, and instead of running the ball on the 3-yard line to take the score and go ahead 27-26, boom, game over, New Orleans wins, what do? They run a play action and try to get Drew Brees outside to his right, and Tampa Bay saw that same play the first week when you ran it against somebody. They sniffed it out. New Orleans just didn't get it off. I mean, come on, New Orleans. You have to be physical. You have to know how to run the ball in short yardage situations. And if you don't, you're going to lose games like this all the time. Come on, New Orleans. Chicago at Minnesota. I took Chicago, and Chicago rolled 39-10. They absolutely killed Minnesota. Minnesota looked like they didn't even belong on the field. Donovan McNabb, God, you look horrible for somebody who's trying to be a starter everywhere in the league. He got pushed, like barely tapped, by one of the defensive ends for the Chicago Bears, and he just went down like an old man, just rolled over and just, oh, I'm falling and I can't get up. I mean, it was retarded. A lot of bad plays, but you know what? Chicago just absolutely dominated. Jay Cutler, 267 throwing the ball. Matt Forte, 87 yards on the ground. Devin Hester, 91 yards receiving. A lot of people hit me up in my inbox because he also had, Devin Hester also had a punt return in this game for a touchdown. Do you think he's a Hall of Fame candidate? No, Devin Hester to me is not a Hall of Fame candidate. I think he's a great kick returner. I think he's a great punt returner as well. But you know what? He's not top 10 at anything else that he does. He's not a top 10 corner. He's not a top 10 receiver. Stop comparing him to Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders was a top corner, and he was also a decent receiver, but he played corner. He was a top corner in this league. Devin Hester's nowhere near that. Devin Hester's not a top corner. And until you can dominate at one position in the game, you can't be considered for the Hall of Fame in my eyes at all. Hit me up, comments. If that's you guys think differently, hit me up. Last but not least, the Eagles also try to make a trade for Ronnie Brown. Try to trade Ronnie Brown, send him to Detroit for Jerome Harrison and a draft pick. I know I spoke about this earlier in the game, earlier in the video, excuse me, and it got voided. But there's some developing things where it may be unvoided by the NFL, so definitely look out for that. That was breaking news, me hitting you guys up. They could actually allow the trade, so didn't want to get that wrong, wanted to put that in there. Last but not least, the Jets versus the Miami Dolphins. Miami just looked bad offensively in this game, but there was three things I came away from this, that I came away with from this game, excuse me. Number one, Brandon Marshall is the only player in the Miami Dolphins offense. Everything runs through him, bottom line, and he is a beast. Number two, Antonio Cromartie's technique as a cornerback in the NFL is absolutely horrible. He has no clue where he is on the field half the time. And we need to either work on his technique or we need to find some way to get rid of him or trade him next year because he is a bad corner on that other side. He's got to step up his game. Number three, for all the people that run around saying that Darrelle Revis is overrated, if you didn't watch the game if you didn't watch this Monday night game when he was battling with Brandon Marshall, one of the better receivers in this league, he had 2 interceptions against a pure beast. Okay, a pure beast. He had a run back for 100 yards, a pick 6. I mean, seriously, guys, stop hitting me in my inbox telling me that Darrelle Revis is overrated. I don't want to hear it anymore. Jets ended up winning 24-6. But like I said, our offense is horrible. We didn't even have a first down in the first quarter. There's still a lot of things we need to work on as a team. Mark Sanchez has got to be able to spot open receivers early in the game. If we allow people to get up on us in the first quarter and we don't score, we're going to get blown in some games. We play some really good teams. Miami is a really bad team, but when we play some really good teams like New England, like San Diego, like Baltimore, when we play Baltimore, these guys are going to come out from the first quarter to the fourth quarter and play 100 miles an hour. And if we can't do that offensively, then we need to find something or someone to come in and make sure that that happens. This is New York. We've got to win, all right? Bottom line. So that's the end of this video. Please tune in for my next video for my picks for this week coming up. That's going to be on Thursday. As always, guys, it's Jets. Please comment, rate, subscribe, guys. Comment, rate, subscribe. Again, I do videos every Tuesday and Thursday. There's been some problems, but believe me, we're getting on track. Every Tuesday and Thursday you see a video. Tuesday is going to be my recaps of the week. Thursday is going to be my picks. All right, guys. Again, Jets, Jets, Jets. This is Unbiased Sports. Comment, rate, subscribe, guys. All right. You guys have a good day, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace.